It's now April, and this month we're focusing on making 8 at a time half square triangles. If you're cutting from yardage, page 2 provides the cutting instructions. Cut 3.5 inch width of fabric strip from fabric 4 and a 7 inch width of fabric strip from fabric 6 and a 7 inch width of fabric strip from your background fabric. All other fabrics used in this block but not mentioned here will be cut from your remaining width of fabric strips from past blocks and months. This month, I'm pulling from my scrap bin, and the easiest way to find the pieces I need is to refer to the piece count column on page 3. If you're cutting from yardage or pre-cuts, follow the cutting instructions to the left of the piece count column. I have all my pieces cut here, and this month I'll mainly focus on showing you how to make 8 at a time half square triangles. To start, we need 2 larger fabric squares, and on the back of one square, I've already drawn 2 diagonal lines to prepare for sewing. I used a normal ballpoint pen. Place the 2 squares right sides together and then take them to your sewing machine to sew a 1/4 inch seam on both sides of each diagonal line. I'll be back to show you what that looks like when I'm done. I'm back with my 1/4 inch seams sewn on both sides of the diagonal lines, and here's what it looks like with both fabrics still facing each other. At this point, the fabric might look a little wavy, kind of like a Pringles chip, due to the thread tension, and to help alleviate this, I'll press it flat to let the stitches settle a little bit. Now it's time to cut. Lay your ruler along the drawn lines and cut along them. Then cut along the center both ways to separate into 4 equal sections. To get 8 half square triangles, cut each of these sections in half again. The best way to ensure accuracy here is to make sure the bottom triangle edge is perpendicular to your cut. If you look closely, you'll see an intersection of seams at the top. Just align your ruler so that it crosses that point. At the same time, use the horizontal lines on your ruler to make sure it runs parallel to the bottom edge before making your cut. Repeat this step for the remaining units. And so here I am taking my ruler. I'm keeping an eye on that intersection of seams at the top while keeping an eye on the horizontal line to help make sure that it's a perpendicular cut to the bottom. And when I'm ensure that those points are secure, I will feel confident in knowing that it is an even cut. And I will cut the same way for all 4 pieces to get 8 half square triangles. Now that I have 8 half square triangles, I'm going to press them open. You are welcome to gently press them open with your fingers before running your iron through. And if you choose to press this way, you'll end up with dog ears to trim off both the top and bottom corners. I typically like to press my seams toward the darker fabric so the seam direction is all going in the same direction. To do this, lay the triangle flat on your ironing board with a lighter fabric on the bottom and open the darker fabric on top. This way, the seam will stay in that direction when you press it open. Open gently with your fingers first, then guide the iron over it. If you choose to press your seams open instead, you'll have seams going in both directions rather than toward one fabric. And here's what both versions will look like side by side. This month, it will also be important to trim these half square triangles accurately so that your points match up when constructing your block. We are trimming these half square triangles down to 3 inches, and as a left-handed quilter, I like to highlight my necessary ruler markings so I can see them clearly. Last month, I used a dry erase marker, but this time I'm showing you how to use washi tape to mark your ruler. This is a great tip, especially if you find yourself trimming hundreds of half square triangles at once. Here, I'm using washi tape to highlight the 3-inch line, making it easier for my eyes to find. And when trimming, I want to make sure the half square triangle fabric runs under the marked lines before cutting. I also want to make sure the diagonal seam aligns with the diagonal line on my ruler. I'm going to go ahead and trim 2 sides and then rotate. Once I rotate, I'll line up the 3-inch marks along the edges I just trimmed while making sure that the diagonal seam stays aligned. Then I'll trim the remaining 2 edges. Go ahead and repeat this for all of your half square triangles. Alright, here are 8 half square triangles perfectly trimmed and ready for piecing. Each one is 3 inches square, making them perfect to piece the rest of the April block. I hope you enjoy making this block. I love this block and I think it's so beautiful. Happy April!